the white man also, when we talk about the white man, the westernized white man, he doesn't have one way of oppressing. He has his own different ways. He oppresses differently, he oppresses his own, he stops his own. Look at the British though. They suppress, they don't oppress, they suppress the Irish, right? And in many respects though, they destroy the Irish, right? They made them submissive to them, all of that, Ireland, all of that, right? And so when you see those old movies like The Manor, the mansions and things like that, you don't see slaves, like black slaves inside those things because they had the Irish to do that, right? So then how did they get all the African wealth, the British? Well, they did absentee colonization. They colonized Africa, extracted resources. They don't really engage with the people like that. You know what I mean? And when they engaged was with the slave trade, but they weren't buying the slaves to use them. They were buying the slaves to turn them around. You know, take the slaves and then turn them in that threefold, you know what I mean, of resources, right? So everyone has their own different way of oppressing, you know what I mean? The difference is though, and let's be real, the reason America is the world power is because the devils that came here were the ones that were thrown away from Britain. So they are more ruthless. But they also realized something that the British didn't. They ended up, because they took slaves, and they were right there with the slave, and they took us and made us slaves, they had the greatest capital that they could ever have. Something that the British weren't really realizing. The human capital. And not physical brawn, but the mental acumen. A lot of people don't realize that. It's the mental asset. That was the greatest asset of the slave, was their mental acumen. You know what I mean? Most of the tools of farming were built by slaves. You know what I mean? Most of the architecture was designed by slaves. White people were not building anything. They weren't doing this. Why do you think when they make old movies, the only white people that build stuff in those times is the Amish? When they lived by themselves, they build it. They didn't build their own stuff. You know what I mean? We can even see New York City though, like, they're always fixing it. Shit don't fix.
Building on the white man going into Africa, he also went into India.
That's another good example. He mined India, and if we look at, for example, the 20th century, from the 1900s all the way on, the Indian mind, philosophy, thought, process, is one of the most mined and mined industries in the whole world. Their thought process, their spirituality, their thoughts, their ideas, their pedagogy, their way of teaching, all of that. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. It's just there was just different levels of oppression, different ways of oppressing. You know? That's why America now is so confusing. Like even New York City, like we have all these different original people. Look at this room though. We have like Puerto Rico, we got DR, right? We got African American, right? We got all this clash here, right? Caribbean, everything's here, right? All this clash, and then they go, yo, why do you think you're this? You know what I'm saying? That's what happens, right? When they meet a Dominican, they go, yo, why do you think you're white? That's the first thing. It's like, yo, we was really well taught. Dominicans, they are very educated. And they will give you the most high convoluted, most fancy scholarly language of why they're European. Right? Right, any Dominican livery cabin, ask that old man though. You know what I mean? Why he's European though. Oh man, he will give you a seminar.
If Mecca did this.